Level up your LA Kings experience with the new Vivid Seats Elite Seats. All the on-ice Kings action with even more exclusive access. Enjoy great seats to the game along with premier dining inside the Lexus Club with all-you-can-eat food and non-alcoholic beverages. Plus, get a free Team LA Kings item and parking with your purchase. Score your Vivid Seats Elite Seats tickets today and earn rewards on each purchase from the only ticket company that rewards you for buying. Experience it live with Vivid Seats, the official partner of the LA Kings.
You're listening to an LA Kings podcast. For more episodes of this and every other Kings program, visit lakings.com/podcast.
You're listening to All the Kings Men, the official podcast of the LA Kings. Now, here's your host, Jesse Cohen.
All right, it's time for an hour of casual banter, as described by Mikey Motor Psyche. Mikey Alexander and Kayla Knierim are here. How are you doing today, Mike?
I am wonderful. If you had told me I get to have breakfast and then talk with Jesse and Kayla, I say yes every time.
How are you doing today, Kayla?
Doing just dandy, Jesse. Great to be with you both.
We don't have much of an agenda, but agenda item number one today is that Kayla was here first by like a country mile.
I'm so glad you recognize that. Thank you so much.
Country mile might be an exaggeration.
It's not.
Had my email waiting for a link to pop up. And
That's so funny because I was in and got the link.
Well, I didn't have my phone on me. I was just looking at my computer email. I had my phone go off during this amazing podcast, the official podcast of your LA Kings.
Sounds like an excuse.
Okay, so you just said your LA Kings, Mikey, and that actually gives me a perfect opportunity to discuss something that I've discussed with the last two guests.
I know where you're going with this. Los Angeles Kings.
Yeah. Do you care? Kayla, if you're not familiar, the question is, do you care if it's LA Kings or Los Angeles Kings?
When I first started, wasn't it like a strict LA Kings?
Yeah.
And now we're a little more loose.
Mm-hmm.
We can go both ways. I don't have a preference.
Yes, we can.
Clip that, send that.
Hello. Okay. I think it's ingrained in my head to say LA Kings. But I don't mind. I like either.
I think, Kayla, you and I probably said both over the years. Like, I think, obviously with the new logo, Los Angeles, which I'm rocking, by the way, can't see it, but Los Angeles a little bit bigger on the font.
Me
there
too.
you go. You got one set LA Kings. So yeah, I don't mind either. Yeah, Jesse, I think the point is, if they say LA Kings or Los Angeles Kings, it doesn't like rub me one way or the other like nails on a chalkboard. I think both are fine. But I do like Los Angeles Kings. And of course, I think just having the name and the team, as we were told a couple months ago by some rock stars in the upper office, is like, if you're at Ralph's or a grocery store, now you see Los Angeles Kings. It's a hockey team in Los Angeles, as opposed to our old logo that just said LA. And if you didn't know hockey as much, you might not know what team that was for. So I like the fact that it says the entire thing now.
Yeah, none of that makes any sense to me, but that's fine. I just figure
he was on your podcast.
Well, be that as it may. I know that some people care very strongly about calling them the Los Angeles Kings. And since it doesn't matter to me, I am trying to force myself to start saying Los Angeles Kings more often because I've never heard anybody passionately advocate for LA Kings. If I start hearing from fans that they prefer LA Kings, maybe I don't know what I'll do. But since for the last however many years, I've every now and then heard people say, why isn't it Los Angeles Kings? I miss Los Angeles Kings. Now I'm just trying to make myself say Los Angeles Kings.
Noted.
Yeah, I agree.
Lots of renovations at Crypto.com Arena. Lots of renovations. The underground, the bunker suites. I don't know if they have a proper name, but the 4 suites that are on event level obviously interfere with pathways that you can take from point A to point B if you're using the event level. Have any of the other new renovations changed how you guys have to do your job? We'll start with you, Kayla, because I feel like this year at least, I feel like I see you in more different places in the arena. Maybe that's not right.
I mean, not that I can think of. We love City View Terrace. The new bar there is incredible. We got to do a hit there for the Dia game, and it looked awesome. It's just a fun open space. We've got bar seats. Obviously, you can look out into the ice, and then you can look out into the outdoor bar area. So we love that new renovation. But I don't think anything's tripped up my path to point A to point B. Yeah, I don't. Well, we lost our Clipper Club locker room, so that's just been the biggest issue.
There you go.
for
So
us.
where do you guys? What's your new locker room if it's not the Clipper Club?
It changes from game to game.
All right.
We're just kind of.
We're going with the flow.
We are going with the flow.
I will say, Kayla is. I always feel like a schlub up there on the video board. Sometimes I just rock a hoodie or a t-shirt. Kayla's always dressed to the nines, so
I don't know about that.
More. Well, just you're always styling, so I feel like you like having like your own personal kind of little work area. So we've kind of had to adjust because it's what the Lexus Club now. It's just a big extended. So they took away our Clipper Club, which was kind of our cool little spot we used to get ready for before the games.
It was very large and spacious and out of the way, and so now we have a new spot.
I feel like public. I feel like stage 308 is a little more crowded these days as well.
Yes. I think the fans, and we love the fans. That's obviously the reason we have the job. But especially if there's like the other night, I don't know if you were there you were there, but in the concourse after the All-American rejects, everybody from the 300s, I felt like ran towards 308 and give those guys credit. They signed as many autographs as they could.
They took pictures with everybody.
Yep,
they were so nice.
So pleasant. But yeah, sometimes fans, the other night we had a Dodger player up there banging the drum, and then you just see fans bolting to try to get photos with them. So it's a fun little hot spot, but also it can get traffic-y. Is that the right word?
Sure. I had to say that Dodger player's name on the postgame show, and I did not know how to pronounce it, and I felt very bad.
Better you. I give Mikey all the names because names freak me out. And if there's a right way to say it, I will say it the opposite way every time, even if I practice. So God bless him. Mikey says all the names anytime we have to say a name.
There's a player currently playing for the Ontario Reign with a name that is pronounced probably a different way for every person who says his name. And it has caused some heated conversations. And those conversations continue on today, even though he's not currently on the Kings roster.
We talking about Sammy?
Yeah.
That was my guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of, especially with the Ontario Reign. Shout out if you haven't gone to an Ontario Reign game, definitely go out there. It is a blast, and it's great to see the younger players. If you watched the Reign last season, you saw Brant Clark up in personal, and Akil Thomas and Quentin Byfield, and so many more now they're up at the Kings. But yeah, Jesse, there's so many new players on the Reign, and some of those names you're like, I just remember the old names from last year. Now there's new names, and they're tough to pronounce. So yeah, I get that for sure.
They're not actually. You just have to commit to pronouncing them correctly. That's my
all right.
That's my take on it. No, we're not doing this now. Okay. We'll do it off the air.
But yes, Upper City Terrace, like Kayla's, that's probably my favorite. I haven't yet. I think Hannah Davey, the best anthem singer out there, she tested out the Doritos.
Oh, Doritos After Dark.
Doritos bar. Yeah. I haven't gone there yet. I want to. I love Doritos.
Kayla, I'm going to have to insist that we call it by its name, which is Doritos After Dark.
My bad. Doritos After Dark.
It's such a great name that it's...
Do they have any Doritos Locos Tacos in there?
I don't know. They have Doritos Sushi.
Yep. Yeah, I tried that. You sent us a video of it, and she tried.
I saw her eating Doritos ice cream. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah,
that's where I draw the line.
I had Armin Dembekjian, the guy that runs the arena, on a few episodes ago, and he promised that we would go and sample some of the Doritos After Dark menu items. But
done. I'll go with you.
I got to tell you, I'm honestly not the world's, apologies to a sponsor, but I'm not the world's biggest Doritos fan.
Really?
Yeah.
I could crush a bag of Cool Ranch like nobody's business.
I just missed that.
I'm a classic Doritos kind of gal.
I was always a Fritos guy. In the battle of the chips that end with the word or the syllable toes, Fritos over Doritos.
That's a great trivia question. How many chips end in toes?
Doritos? 2.
Well, if we're doing favorites, mine are cheddar ruffles.
Really? What about not just normal Ruffles?
No. Oh my gosh, the cheddar ruffles are my favorite chip.
Are you a Sun Chips fan?
Yes, I love Sun Chips.
What flavor Sun Chips do you get?
What is the garden salsa, or what is that?
The red bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just original.
Original, yeah, that's my
Yeah,
choice.
those are
Mikey, which which way do you rock with Sun Chips?
I love Sun Chips. I like the original, the old school. And then I don't know if they even make them anymore. Shout out, apologies if they do. The best chip to wear are bugles. Remember the bugles you put them on your fingers? I love a good
Yes,
I love
best
bugles.
chips to wear.
I love bugles. You ever had a bugle, Kayla?
Not bugle.
Like,
I used to put them on my fingers.
Yep.
They kind of make your breath smell.
that's why we're best friends. Huh? On your fingers. Bonded by bugles.
I also love barbecue chips. Any kind of barbecue chips.
Hmm.
And jalapeno and pickle. I guess I just love chips.
I don't know if you guys saw my pizza question on Twitter earlier this week.
I love pizza.
I did not.
I feel like this is the kind of question that Mikey's going to adore. So the question is this, and I amended it a little bit. If you were responsible for purchasing pizza for a back to school night for a classroom, meaning kids, parents, teachers, you have no idea who they are, what their tastes are. You don't know. It's just a group of people that are going to come to a classroom, and you have decided, or it has been decided for you, that 6 pizzas is the correct number of pizzas.
Okay.
What 6 pizzas are you ordering? We'll start with Mikey, and then we'll ask Kayla.
All right. Well, I will. This is actually a true story. One of the few times, I mean, I've gotten booed before, but one of the few times I distinctly remember being booed on microphone at Crypto.com Arena is we had a thing, we're talking about pizza, and I was like, oh, and by the way, pineapple is the best pizza topping. Half the arena booed me. This is very controversial.
People get very triggered by pineapple on pizza.
My first pizza is going to be Hawaiian. I love Hawaiian. It might isolate some people, but we're going Hawaiian. Second is going to be your classic, just cheese and pepperoni. I feel like most people like that. Your third one would be like that mozzarella one, which I love. I think it's called just like mozzarella pizza. It's just it's the cheese with the
what?
Yeah, it's
white
gross.
pizza?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like got the basil.
With the big puddles of mozzarella.
Yes, I love. You don't like that?
No, keep going.
Crazy?
That's my
Wait.
third.
Maybe.
Oh, margarita.
Yeah,
Margarita. Thank you, Kayla. That's why we're best friends. Margarita pizza. Thank you. Okay, so my third one's margarita. My fourth one, deep dish, with all the fixins, so all the meat lovers out there can get their Chicago deep dish style. My fifth one, got to have some vegetarian options, so just do pizza with broccoli, mushrooms, all that stuff. And then I guess my sixth one would be what would my sixth one be? Probably another just normal cheese, plain cheese.
All right. So in this tweet, I said there is no one specific correct answer, but there are loads of wrong answers. That's one of the wrong answers. Kayla, what would you do with your 6 pizzas?
Do they all have to be different?
Nope.
So I think you have to do at least 2 or 3 cheese.
Okay.
And then you have to do like probably 2 more pepperoni.
Okay.
And then I'm doing a supreme. And then I'm doing a veggie. Veggie is actually my favorite pizza, but sometimes I like to add in pepperoni, which defeats the purpose. I just love vegetables. How many are we at?
That's like
7.
Then you get a pizza that can count for you, so you get the correct amount of pizzas.
So those are mine.
All right. So Kayla has chosen correctly.
Thank you. If you're doing a big group, that's what you have to do.
4 of this is what I decided arbitrarily. It's my pizza question. I can make the rules.
Absolutely.
4 of the 6 have to be cheese or pepperoni.
Yeah.
Because as Kayla just said, you're buying for a big group and you have to just assume that most people are going to like cheese or pepperoni. The whole vegetarian vegan issue does not, in my mind, come into play because what are the likelihood that your large group of people is going to have more than one person? So no.
But don't people like variety?
No, people like pizza. And pizza is cheese, tomato paste, and bread.
I gave you 2 out of the 6 were plain, I thought. Or maybe
that's not enough.
Okay, not really.
You went crazy. You tried to hit every base, and in hitting every base, you wound up alienating a bunch of people who just want pizza.
But the beauty of pizza, I think, is you can take off what you don't want. So if you don't want,
you know what's worse than no pizza? A pizza that I have to sit there and manually pick all the toppings off, create a little pile at the side of my plate, and then for the rest of the night, unless I throw my plate out, people are walking by, and I feel like, oh, I'm gonna get called a child because I picked all the.
Do you know what my new favorite pizza is?
I do not.
There's a place across the street that I always get the charred pepperonis, the little pepperonis that are charred with ricotta.
Do they make a little cup? Do the edges curl up and make?
Yes, they curl up. Oh, they're so crispy. That's my new favorite. And then I throw veggies on that too.
So last night I was sorry, Mike, I'm going to cut you off here. So last night I was watching the Kings game at the Kings headquarters at Toyota Sports Performance Center in El Segundo, California. And Josh Schaefer was doing pregame and intermission, so I'm basically just hanging out watching the game till the postgame. And I went to King's Cove, which is a little restaurant
Delicious.
there at Toyota Sports Performance Center, and I ordered a little personal pizza. And anytime anybody orders something from the Cove, everybody that works there walks by and goes, "Oh, did you get that from the Cove? Yeah, how is it?" And
Great margaritas.
And everybody wants to know like how good the Cove is at doing various different dishes. So even though we did this was it last year, 2 years ago, where we ranked all the different pizzas in El Segundo, one day in the office, we just ordered one pizza from every place we could think of and then voted and ranked them. But the point is that the pizza at the Cove, it's fine. Like, no disrespect to the Cove. It's not brilliant. It's not excellent. But for whatever reason, that's what I was in the mood for. I really wanted a pizza that was just fine.
Yep.
I didn't want a really good pizza. I just wanted, it's fine. It's good enough.
Gets the job done.
Do they
for
cook
whatever
them
reason.
in an oven or do they microwave them?
I'm going to guess in an oven, but I don't actually know.
Okay. I've never looked at a menu there, so I don't know.
I do feel like pizza is the one thing that's really hard to screw up pizza. Like, you're not going to go to a place like that.
It's possible. It's hard,
Really?
but it's possible.
But at the end of the day, you'll still eat it. It's not like you're like, oh, I can't touch this.
When we did the rankings of pizzas in El Segundo, there was one where there were a bunch of slices with bites out of them put back in the box.
Oh, that's not good.
And then
there's a place in Hermosa, I won't say where, but it looks like the Ninja Turtles pizza. It's like it's a sheet of plastic cheese. It's disgusting.
I do like when you always have that inevitable pizza party, right? And most pizza places will have, like, buy large pizza, you get the salad on the side, and then you finish the party and nobody's touched the salad. All the pizza's gone, and there's always that like iceberg lettuce salad in a bowl that nobody touches at the pizza
I
party.
eat that salad.
Do you really?
Yes, I love a salad with my pizza.
There's I don't know if it's Family Guy or just from the people that make Family Guy, but there's a cutaway gag about pizza place salads that you can find clipped on YouTube. I would encourage people because it's very funny and very accurate. And it's all about how pizza place salads are just a half a wedge of lettuce, a bunch of carrot shavings, not like chopped up carrots,
always
like
those carrot shavings,
lengthwise shavings, a bunch
stale
of
croutons.
a bunch of olives, and then put it right on top of the pizza box so it's warm when they get it.
Yep. And you always have to like take the croutons out of the little bag and then spread it yourself, because otherwise they get soggy, and that's an extra step. Be like, whatever.
So Mikey, the man with a million best friends.
Yeah.
This season, despite the fact that the Kings record is very good.
Although, we'll get to that in a second, Jesse, because your episode the other night, you talked about that, because I was waiting for that infamous "We Are Good" tweet that you sent out once a season. And I do remember that's why. Yeah, I mean, it's always like Kayla and I are very superstitious, not a little superstitious. Shout out Patrick that says that too. Yeah, I was interested when you hear that conversation about the Kings good. When do you say it? When do you jinx it? Do you hold off? That kind of stuff.
Well, so the question I have is, do you guys feel like the fans are in on the good record? Because there are certain online spaces where the fans are out. They don't buy it. There are certain...
I will say this. Sorry to cut you off, but
it's fine.
Kayla probably agrees with me 1,000%. We talked about this the other night, actually. And again, this is not knocking people on social media and the tweets and stuff. People in the concourse are different than people behind a computer.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
Yeah. So the people in the concourse, they're excited. Like, there is an excitement. Do they think that we're the best in the NHL right now? No, I think they're being realistic. We're young, which they love. We're trying new things, the new coach. To me, there's a lot of excitement around this team. They love seeing some of the younger players finally get a lot of playing time. But there's also that typical fans like, I don't know, we'll beat Minnesota, but then we'll lose to the Blackhawks in that heartbreaker of a game, or we'll lose to the Sharks. But I think there's just an excitement because it's a lot of new faces, which I think the fan base in the concourse loves. And I tend to love the fans that come up to me in the concourse, give me their honest feedback. The people on the keyboard, it's tougher to say, they're just having a bad day, just taking out on their hockey team. They're not actually at the arena. That makes sense?
It does. I'm just trying to get a whole, like, most of my life, even before the internet, I always felt like it was pretty clear which direction people felt the team was going. And this season, it just feels like I read almost as much commentary from fans about other fans as I do about fans on the team. And I don't know if that's just where we are as a society, or if it's because of the internet, or maybe I'm just too chronically online, Kayla. I'm not sure, but um, there are definitely pockets of fans that are incredibly positive about everything that's going on, and there are definitely fans that are incredibly negative. And then, you go to a place like Reddit, and there's people just sort of checking in for a game, like, I don't know what's going on with the team. Somebody tell me. So it's a weird, I don't know, it's a weird place for fans right now.
And I think Kayla and our job, obviously, I think we ride the emotions just like all the fans. Trust me.
Some of us more than others.
Yes, thank you. I hate when that Chicago game was rough. I hated losing that with 30 seconds.
Well, I would personally like to take responsibility for that loss. I just during King's Countdown, and the minute it came out of my mouth, I was like, oh crap. We're gonna lose.
Where should fans send their hate mail?
To Mikey.
All right, perfect.
If I be the concourse, I'll handle it just fine. But I think fans sometimes see us in the third period, second period, and we know, like, look, our job is to get the crowd going, have fun. We're not going to go 82-0. Last time I checked, no NHL team has. So we always sing it from the mindset of there's a fan out there. It's their first game. Let's make it fun for them regardless. Now, if we're getting thumped, of course, we can't fake our happiness. But I think the fans just to experience the game and have fun. It's early. I think last year, Oilers were 0-7, and we're like, they're done, and we're the best team in hockey, and then it flipped the script. So it's too soon for me to kind of give a total judgment of how good are we. I just love the fact that we're above 500, playing really well. So for the average fan, unlike you, Jesse, who doesn't follow the team religiously like the three of us do, if you're like, should I check out a Kings game tonight? You look at the standings, they're in first place, second place. Yeah, let's go check out a game. If you're 0-9, then they're like, I'm not going to pay for a ticket and go see the game. So selfishly, to get more people in the building, I love the fact that our record so far is pretty good.
I'm the same way. Like, way too early to get cocky. We can for sure be excited. I mean, absolutely yes. But we've got 6 months to go. Like, take it easy, ride the wave. I think what we've seen is very exciting. We should all be optimistic. But it's a long season, so buckle up.
Mikey introduced a weird idea that I had not previously considered, Kayla, which is the idea of a fan who goes to a game based on the record first. How many in your fan interactions over the years, how many fans are, like, what percentage wise of fans that you interact with are fans that you've seen before, or at least you get the sense that they're there all the time? And how many fans are the type of fans where you're like, this might be their first 5, within their first 5 trips to the arena?
I always ask at every fan fest, and we have one on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Raise your hand if it's your first Kings game. At least 10 people raise their hand.
Really?
Yeah. So, Kayla, answer this. I think, probably 60% of the fans we recognize, but there's that 40% where I've never met this fan. They'll say, hey, Mikey, Kayla, can I get a photo? We've been trying for a year to find you, because we're running around the arena sometimes. So they say they go to all the games, but we haven't met them yet. Kayla,
there's 18,000 people there. So
yeah.
Hard to meet them all.
But we try.
We do.
I've known for a while, obviously, as everybody gets older, you new people enter the world behind you, whatever space you're in. And I've been forced to sort of realize the more roles that I have with the organization and the more interaction I have with different groups, I'm realizing more and more that, like, even 10 years ago, there are so many new fans that have become fans in the last 10 years, right? I'm in my mid 40s, and I forget sometimes that people in their mid 30s or mid 20s or teens don't remember 10 years ago, right? For some, it was a sort of peripheral thing of like, there's a hockey team in LA and they're winning and everything. So when Trevor Lewis was bumped up to the top line, I was like, top line Trevor Lewis. This has been a thing for a decade. The name top line Trevor Lewis, sort of respectfully.
I saw your retweet.
Yeah, but like respectfully poking fun at Trevor, not poking fun, but like we all understand what Trevor Lewis's role is. We all understand that he was not signed to play on the top line with Kopitar and Kempe at any point really in his career. So when he does find his way up there, it's a nice way to sort of remind people, hey, this is a first round draft pick. This is a guy who's had an incredible career and he plays his role really well and nobody ever has anything bad to say about him. So hey, top line Trevor Lewis. But then I was realizing, like, oh yeah, if you weren't chronically online 10 years ago or 8 years ago, you missed that joke. You have no idea what I'm talking about. So that's why I was wondering about the fans experiencing their first trip to crypto, because there's so many things. Like somebody was asking me the other day what happened to Kick It. And I said, I don't know. I guess they don't do it anymore. And then that particular game, you guys did do it in the third period.
Yes,
but
we
I
did.
feel like
it's going to be a surprise each game. You just got to be there to find out.
I feel like I've only seen it once. And that's a very new wrinkle to the program. And you've already begun phasing it out, ? Kayla?
Okay, well, we are reworking it.
Okay.
We're giving fans the chance to vote on what they want to hear for the party moment in the third period. Kick It could be in there. So like the other night we called an audible because the Dodgers won the World Series. So that called for Kick It.
Okay.
It just, the feedback we got was that it got a little too redundant maybe last year. And also if there's a point, like we do it in the third period, usually the under 10 timeout. So depending on the score, fans might not be in a Kick It mood, if
Fair.
you will.
Yeah.
So we always kind of had to like feel it out. And I don't know, it's just, it's good to switch things up from time to time. Mikey, I'll let you.
Yeah, you nailed it on that. I
in.
think we want it to be genuine to the team itself in terms of, I don't think the players are looking up at the video board and Kobe's are like, oh, are they going to kick it? Let's party with them. But I think also too, like there was a game last season, we were losing pretty badly. And I genuinely looked down at the players. And I told Kayla, I was like, this is not a party moment. I don't want to fight for a right to party because we're down 4 goals with like 7.5 to go. And the fans gave us that feedback. Like they love it. They absolutely love it, except when we're losing by a lot. They're like, Mikey, I'm not really sure because it's not really a party mode. So to Kayla's point, now we're letting the fans decide. Let the fans vote. I think I love it. And then every now and then you'll have a fan the other night say, oh, I love that new song. And then I had a fan go, where was Kick It? I want to kick it. So it's nice. The fans are excited. At least they're paying attention, which I think is good.
We keep saying Kick It, but I want to be perfectly clear. We're talking about playing Fight for Your Right to Party.
Yeah, sorry, for those
we always call it Kick It, like
right
on the back end.
Yes, we've never been to the arena. We last season had a really fun one, which began organically. Shout out to
it was 2 seasons ago. Was it during playoffs 2 seasons ago that we started it?
We just started playing Fight for Your Right, and the entire arena started singing it. And it was like, well, this is a cool moment. And we just started adding more and more elements to it. And shout out to Sean and Patrick and everybody upstairs. Like, they truly get, Kayla and I are kind of like we're message board from the fans. Like they come up and tell us good and bad, and we tell our bosses, and they listen. So they adjust according to the fans. We want to make the fans happy. That's our number one job. I
also have this theory that when Mikey doesn't like something or wants to change something, he says the fans want this. The fans want that.
Well, and
I'm just giving you a hard time.
From my perspective, the problem is
because I'm like, the fans don't tell me anything. Am I missing something? And the fans always tell Mikey everything.
You're too devastatingly beautiful that you can't approach you, Kayla.
But if I asked the two of you to be the only voices in making the fans happy, and making the fans happy meant getting the right pizzas, we already know how that would go. So
yeah, go to Kayla. Apparently,
yeah,
go to Kayla. Food. But Jesse, just to harp back real quick for 3 seconds. Kayla and I have such amazing relationships with the fans, and because it's such an approachable environment, and there are we have like the diehards, right? They go to every game, every watch party, every event. They know every stat from the 60s, 70s, and moving on. That's that fan base. There's probably that's 20% of the arena. Then there's the 40% that are maybe 30%. Then there's the 40% season ticket members, but they don't necessarily go to every watch party.
Sure.
They don't go to every event that we have. They can't make it to the 5K. And then there's the 20% that are brand new, that are just want to take hockey, and then they slowly get hooked. And I think that's where I really love seeing something where I was like, oh, I've never met you. And yes, my first game, my buddy took me. I'm hooked. I didn't know they fought on the ice. Like, this is crazy. And it's awesome to see that. So I think there's a little sprinkle of all type of fan at the arena.
We're not allowed to use fighting to promote the game, right?
No, we're not? Okay, well then
no.
don't do that.
No, we can talk about it on here. But
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's a league. I think it's a league rule. I could be wrong about this, but I'm reasonably certain that the league has said like, hey, tweets, Instagram posts, commercials, whatever, like don't reference or highlight fighting as a marketing tool. Which I understand, but I don't like.
Feels
But,
like a mess.
I mean, I get it. They're trying to. This is a conversation for a later day. I get it. I just don't get it.
I was in a section the other night, somewhere in the 200s, waiting for to go on camera with something, and a fight broke out. And one of the fans and I were just joking. I was like, imagine if you're just working at, a copy place, you're making Xerox copies, and somebody just comes out and checks you, starts punching you in the face. Like, they're technically the Kings just doing their jobs, trying to play, and some guy just checks you out of nowhere. I'm like, that would be so disheartening for me. I would cry in a little corner of the room and just leave. But that's part of the game.
Yeah.
But fans that have never seen a fight before, they're freaking out. Like, that happened. Like, oh yeah, that happens. Like, wait, what? Like,
no,
yeah.
it's a unique part of the game, and there's obviously, I don't know how much time you guys spend in the 300s, but you can always hear somebody somewhere in the building yelling, hit somebody or get him or punch or whatever, even if it's like just casual play in the neutral zone. Even if the Kings have the puck, they're like, hit him, and you're like, oh, what? Who's supposed to hit who exactly in this moment? But
what do they say more, Jesse? Hit him or shoot? Which is said more loud? More often.
It should be shoot. But
you hear that ever? Shoot it.
Yeah, well, they should yell shoot it, and the players should shoot it.
You're pro shoot?
Oh, 100%. You mean fans yelling shoot? Here's the thing. All due respect to the players, don't care if they love it or not. If you want fans to scream shoot less frequently, then shoot more frequently. And also, and I've had this conversation before, I apologize for repeating myself, but when somebody yells shoot it, I don't know why people insist on ignoring this obvious fact. They're not telling the player to shoot it that instant. When I yell shoot when the team's on the power play and they've been passing the puck back and forth around the perimeter for 30 seconds, I don't mean this second fire the puck into a defender's shin pads because he's in your shooting lane and I want you to create a turnover. What I'm saying is, for goodness sakes, it's been 30 seconds and you don't have a shot on goal. So pretty pleased with cherry on top. If it wouldn't be too much trouble, stop passing the puck around the perimeter and get a shot near the goal. Because as we all know, tip-ins, rebounds, deflections, whatever, crazy things happen when you get the puck close to the net. It doesn't mean shoot it right now. Now, having said all that, banging on the glass, I'm not a huge fan of.
Oh, see, that's fun.
If you're the person banging on the glass, if you're one of the 10 people directly behind the person banging on the glass, not as much fun.
Okay. Yeah. At the end of every game, Mikey and I go to section 115 for potential pump ups. So that's my favorite spot.
What's a potential pump up?
115. Get the crowd going, Jesse.
Depending on the score, we'll be by the Zam cam, and Patrick will be like, Kayla, Mikey, let's do a pump up at the next whistle. So then we'll get the crowd going. Get on your feet, get loud, that sort of thing. But I take that opportunity to bang on the glass because that's the only time I get to do it. And it's so fun.
But you're in the Zam tunnel, right?
We're in 115.
Stoppage of play?
Next to the Zam tunnel in this like little corner.
During a stoppage of play?
Yes.
No, it doesn't during, but you do it during play.
So you're not blocking.
Play, yeah.
Yeah. Smash that glass. Absolutely.
Theoretically, though, you're not blocking anybody's view.
No.
No.
All right.
Well,
that's my only issue with banging on the glass is get out of my way.
I'm very pro get on your feet and stand for at least the last minute, 2 minutes, especially if the score is close or if we're up. Like, I want people on their feet and loud. Like, I grew up going to Arrowhead Stadium where you stand the entire football game. Get on your feet. It's the last couple of minutes. Like, no one needs to be sitting down. That's my opinion.
What if it's 3-0? The wrong way.
Oh, well, yeah, read the room, obviously.
Right,
but if we're winning or if it's tied, like, I need some excitement out of you.
All right.
I will say huge shout out. I probably have said his name every podcast I've been on, to Bob Miller. We love Bob. We love you, Bob. If you listen. But he was at the game the other.
Promise you he doesn't.
You don't think? All right, I'm going to send him this clip. I'll see you in Simi Valley, buddy. I see him all the time, so I'll send it to him. But Kayla and I, the other night, Bob was in the crowd, and it was we had the lead with about a minute left, minute 20 seconds left or something. They showed Bob on the big screen, and I looked at him, and he's like, Mikey. I pointed, like, I'm good. I shouted to him, I'm going to use you, Bob. I'm going to use you right now. He's like, he gave me a thumbs up. So they cut to me and Kayla, and I was like, Bob Miller's here. He wants you to get up. So everybody get up. The entire arena stood up for Bob Miller because they love him.
It was awesome.
And then I thought, oh my God, I put Bob Miller on the spot. If we blow this lead with a minute left, I'm never going to forgive myself. And luckily, we held on to the win. But every now and then, I'm like, should I have said that out loud? Because now I'm scared I jinxed it.
Kayla,
but they all stood up for Bob Miller.
Kayla, the NFL teams have dedicated broadcast teams, or are they all just national games? So it's whoever gets assigned.
What do you mean?
Like, is there a Kansas City Chiefs play-by-play guy that's?
Oh yeah, Mitch Holtis.
Okay.
Mitch Holtis, he's the best.
How old is Mitch Holtis?
I've been listening to Mitch since I was a child, so I would say he's in his 60s, 50s, 60s.
So this is something that came up when I was talking to Josh Schaefer, because as everybody knows, Josh. Well, I don't know if they know or not, but Josh.
I know Josh. Hi, Josh. He listens.
Josh Schaefer will be filling in for Nick Nixon here and there. Already has.
He's crushing it.
He calls a great game. There is I don't even know how to put this. The Bob Millers of the world and the Nick Nixons of the world didn't have a previous generation of play-by-play announcers to look to. They were paving the path, right? They were creating the standards that we all now are used to. Maybe, well, I don't want to age these guys too much, but maybe there was like some guys in the 40s and 50s, but generally speaking, there's a generation of broadcasters that didn't have a template to look to. But broadcasters of Josh's age, when they're doing the job, but they're also thinking about how the people that they grew up with did the job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like Josh is factoring in, well, how does Nick Nixon call a game? Well, how does Bob Miller call a game? How does Doc Emmerich call a game? How does Ralph Stratus, you know what I mean? Like, he has his favorites, and he has, it is a position that is revered in a way that it probably wasn't when Bob Miller was doing the job, right? Bob Miller probably didn't grow up thinking about following in the footsteps of Foster Hewitt. I don't know, maybe he did, but I doubt it. All of that is to ask, you guys have a job now that really didn't exist 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So there weren't, I can't think of a studio or an arena host that is like, Doc Emmerich levels of
doing it for 30 years.
Well, I just everybody knows who Doc Emmerich is. I don't know that anybody knows who the Yankees in arena host is. I don't even know if the Yankees have one. There's a long way of asking, like, do you tailor your performance to mimic a different performer that you have seen in your life, or are you guys more like the Bob Millers of the world who are sort of paving the way for future performers? I'll start with you, Kayla.
Interesting question. I'm just trying to live up to Carlin Baith.
Okay.
Well, obviously, I moved to LA in 2018, so I didn't get to see them in action. When I got here was when the opening for this job came about. So, but no, I think, like you said, these jobs haven't been around a long time. I lived in St. Louis previously and worked for Fox Sports Midwest. So I was going to Blues games and Cardinals games, and they obviously had their in-arena host. But at the time, I didn't know I'd be doing that down the road. So I think it's important for us just to be ourselves. And yeah, because I've never looked up to anyone in this particular job. So just being ourselves, being authentic is, to me, the most important thing, because people can tell when you're fake. They can see right through it. And I came to LA after college for like a year and a half to try acting and realized I sucked. And I was like, oh yeah, I can't be anyone other than myself. So that's always been my goal. That's always what I've strived to do, is just be myself, let my personality shine through, be authentic, be kind, be hardworking, and everything else will fall into place. So I think that's kind of the approach I take with this role. And I can definitely say the same about Mikey, but I'll let him speak for himself.
You said that perfectly. I think, yeah, that was flawless. I agree with everything you said. I think when you try to, I always say, like I said this for my first season. Kayla and I, our first season, we were new, so the fans were like, who are you? Who are these two people?
I actually would love to see.
Footage.
Actually, I would not love to
I don't
see.
want to. I don't want to be there. We were very raw.
I was gonna say, I'm sure we can find it.
No,
sure we
I
could.
told
No,
people that they could go to OUE Sky Space, which was like 100,000 feet above downtown LA,
And
which is actually space.
I gave away TVs to an entire section by accident. So we all have mistakes. It happens. But I remember the first year, the fan, because they had Jay and Carlin before, and they'd been nothing but supportive the entire time.
Yes, they have both been gems.
And I think they were the host for like 9-10 years, something like that. And a fan was like, oh, you got big shoes to fill. And I was intimidated by that. And I thought, you know what? I told the fan, I can't fill his shoes or her shoes. I have my own pair of shoes. And hopefully you like my shoes. And I think that anytime, and not just with sports hosting, Kayla and I do a lot of hosting outside of the arena. And for what's always saved me, be yourself. Because when you mess up or you forget a beat, your best thing to rely back on is you. So they're like, oh, that's just Kayla being Kayla. That's just Mikey being Mikey. And it makes us, I think, approachable, and it makes us relatable. Yeah, you can't be fake in this business, especially in a sports world. I can't fake when we're losing. I'm upset. I can hide it, but yeah. So
I have zero poker face over here.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not trying to imitate anybody. We're trying to be ourselves, and hopefully the fans like what we do. And if they don't, they tell us, and we try to adjust. But yeah, be yourself. That's the best thing if you're ever trying to be any kind of host.
It's a fine line, though, between adjusting and blowing someone off.
Yeah,
because like you're not going to please everybody.
Yes,
and there's going to be somebody who comes to you and says, "Hey, I think you should do X, Y, or Z or the other thing." And at some point, sometimes you don't want to, sometimes you can't. And you know, I've had to send DMs to people politely saying, like, "I hear what you're saying, but."
And that's a huge credit.
Don't get your hopes up.
I think the reason you're so relatable on your podcast is because you're Jesse. Like, you don't sugarcoat it either. You know, obviously you work for the teams. You might sugarcoat losses more than the average fan that it's the end of the world if we lose 2 in a row. But you're real. You're honest. You're a fan first, and you're a podcaster, talk show host second, I think, which is good.
To be clear, and I've told this story, I got a text from someone that people would know after the San Jose Sharks loss, asking me if I thought Englund would be back in the lineup the next game. I think he was out of the lineup for that game. And so the person was saying, like, I think Englund will be in the next game. And I replied, doesn't matter. The season's over.
That's true.
After the 10th game.
I would never say that on King's Talk. And I'm only saying it now to say that that's what I was saying privately. But yeah, obviously I can't say that in the moment. And listen, I was wrong. Happy to be wrong.
Too, like, yeah, and it's still, like Kayla said, there's still 6 months to go, right? So we have to kind of go with the ebb and flows. We're going to have that amazing winning streak. We're probably going to lose 4 in a row. You just don't know, right? So, like, you have to be prepared for both ends of it. I hope we don't lose 4 in a row.
I mean, it'll probably happen eventually. When the team... So, like, game ends at 10:15-ish for a 7:30 start. I know that you guys have post-game responsibilities. You have to take equipment back. Mikey's got to talk to 15 million people and make patiently stand there. I haven't bumped into you. Well, I can't bump into you guys in the parking lot anymore because the parking lot situation is totally different. I don't know if
totally different.
No, we saw your car. I would love for you to fix that bumper. We'll talk about
I've been dangerously close to being late to meetings now because of the parking situation.
Mikey, that bumper is going to cost me $1,000.
I told that to Kayla. I was like, that's been that for 5 years.
Oh yeah, we did see your car the other night.
Yeah, but that I'm not spending $1,000 to fix that.
It'll increase your MPG so much. I'm telling you,
it won't.
Okay, all right. Well,
for those who have no idea what we're talking about, I'm missing a small panel on the side of the back.
And when you say small, you mean half?
Medium. It's not half. There's a noticeable chunk of my car missing.
No one needs a bumper.
Yeah,
it's not the bumper though; it's the side. And I took it to a body shop, and they said because the way the car is made, they can't just replace the missing panel. They would have to remove the entire bumper.
This happened to me in the front of my car.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'll just drive around with a panel missing. I don't care.
Oh,
Jesse, did Kayla tell you the story where she hit her own garage?
No, it was not mine. Someone else's.
Listen, I have a parking spot with a pole in it, or next to it, and I've crunched my mirror on the pole a few times. So
This is when I first moved back to LA. I was living on my friend's couch in Hermosa, and I had to move my car to the other side of the street for street cleaning. But
As you do.
I'm driving up a hill, these narrow roads in Hermosa, like right
Yep.
by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm turning in to the driveway to turn around, but it's actually up a hill and then down to the driveway. And I thought I was in reverse and I was in drive, and I hit the gas and went through the garage.
That's unfortunate.
Then I had to call my dad, which is always my first call when I have car issues. He hates it when I call him because he's like, what did you do?
What'd you do now?
He's also an insurance agent, so that's why I go to him. That was not a pleasant phone call. So
Have you seen
I had to
the,
replace the entire front of my car and a garage door that didn't belong to me.
Does insurance
At a
cover
house that I
garage
wasn't
doors?
even living in. What?
Does your insurance cover garage doors that don't belong to you?
I think it did. I don't know.
Have you seen the social media trend where people call their dads to tell them that they put diesel in the gas tank because it was cheaper?
Oh, that's great.
Well, my first car was a bug and it was diesel. So
punch. Jesse, punch buggy or slug bug?
I don't care.
That was a long pause for that.
Well, I did. Yeah, either way.
Okay.
what were you going to ask us about after games?
So the question I had was when. So
I have a lot to say.
So I now, because I do King's Talk, I usually wind up getting out of there 45 minutes to an hour after the game is done. And then I go home, and the likelihood of me going home and going directly to sleep is low. Even though I should, because by the time I get home, it's 11:30, it's midnight, whatever, I should just go to bed. If the Kings have a big win, I find myself up till 2 or 3. So what time are you guys? And part of it is just that I've been doing King's Talk, and I'm wired, because to talk to yourself for an hour requires a certain level of adrenaline. But you guys, have been doing it for the entire game. So how long does it take to unwind, and what time do you go to sleep?
Who wants to go first?
You go first, Kayla. We probably
Okay. Well, first of all, yes, we get very amped up at games, but as far as after games go, yes, we have to go up straight up to return our mics and IFB packs. Shout out to Tim.
Yeah, Tim, you're the best. We love you.
I've started leaving Mikey because he goes off and talks to, like you said, every single fan still left in the building. And poor Tim sometimes is up there a long time waiting on us for equipment. So I've started leaving him. And then by the time we return our equipment, we go back to our dressing room, grab all of our stuff, debrief. By the time we walk to our cars, there's still more talking to do by Mikey. I just keep going. But no, by the time we get home, and then I may or may not go to Taco Bell because I don't really eat dinner and I'm starving. Then we put our stories up. Then, to take off my face of makeup. Then it's like 1:00 and I'm staring at the ceiling. So I've tried to wind down faster. So I'll come home, I'll drink like sleepy time tea or take a Benadryl allergy, whatever. It doesn't make you groggy. But the night after the Dodgers won the World Series, that game was like on another level. There was so much happening. We won. It was Chargers night. The Dodgers won in the middle of our game. I was still awake at like 2:30. I was texting with someone. They were like, "Why are you awake right now?" That game was especially hard to come down from. But yeah, like you said, you're so hyper. You get so amped up after games that coming down is really, really hard. So sleepy time tea is my friend. And just trying to like stay off my phone. Like my story doesn't need to go up right after a game. So I'm trying to work on it this year so that I'm not tired and lazy the next day, because that's what always happens. I can't get anything done the next day if I'm tired. So
back-to-back games are the worst for that, right? Because
yeah. Oh my gosh, even this last week, the Thursday, Saturday, like Friday and Sunday, I was worthless.
Yeah, this week I've had 5 straight nights of hockey because I host for the Rain as well. So you come home.
And you're factoring in the drive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. On a Friday game.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, that's insane.
But Kayla and I, that she said everything correctly. The other night, the game was over. I said, Kayla, I promise you, I'll go right with you outside. I won't stop to any fans. And then 2 seconds later, I'm talking to 3 fans that she just kept walking.
I just keep going. I'm like, I'll catch up. It's fine.
What you should do.
And yeah, I think it's hard to go to bed, Jesse, especially. So I have kind of my routines, just like Kayla. We kind of go over things. Hey, that was a fun little hit we did. We could try this. Maybe we could try that. And I'll write stuff down. Like, I could have had that little beat better. I probably missed a good joke here. That kind of stuff. I do self-critiquing. But then Kayla and I, it's like I don't know, like a 20-minute just conversation of like, that was fun. Did you see that fan? Oh, I met this person. And just kind of like, because we're not together in the arena the entire night. We're split off a couple times.
We
so
start together and then
finish together. So then we get to chat. We're like, oh, did you do that? Oh, that was great. Oh, Kayla, like, that was great when you did that. You did that great. And then I come home and a fan asked us the other day, Kayla, I'll ask you a question. Jesse, you too. They said, Mikey, Kayla, how much percent of the actual game do you get to watch? I'm like, maybe 20% of the actual game, because we're
Not a
running
lot.
nonstop. So I go home, I watch all the highlights of the goals and, the fights and the 12-minute clips they put up. And then, then Kayla, I try to go to bed. I'm too hyped up. And I try to return as many messages as I can, because fans are like, I was in 3 something.
Just not mine.
I got to yours. I get as many as I can. So the responsibility I feel like I have is to the fans. So without them, I don't have a job. So I try to return as many messages as I can. If there's a fan that said, oh, I was in 317, you didn't get to me, I'll write that name down, write their section. I'll try my best to get to them to the next game. Just because if they take the time out to message me, I want to give at least a minute to go to their section and say hi. I think that to me is, I just love that connection that we have. Where else can you, like you said, meet 18,000 people every night? So I pinch myself every time we have this job that we still get to do it. And by 3 a.m., then I'm like, okay, go to bed.
I wasn't planning on asking this question at this point, but it popped into my head during your answer, Mikey. Whose decision was it to make the cap shuffle impossible?
Fans have been asking.
Don't get him started on the cap shuffle. We'll be here for another 20 minutes.
Fans love it. I've been begging for more, because other arenas and other places, we've been doing 3 caps for a while. So if you know what we're talking about, there's a segment where a puck goes under a hat and they start shuffling, and the fans have been like, there's only 3 caps. Make it, because Dodger Stadium, I think it has 4. I've seen other places that 5.
Yeah, I don't mind the extra caps. It's that spin.
Yes, but
a second in.
Do you hear the reaction from the fans though? It's the best. They're like, oh, it's the best.
We play it in the press box, and none of us can follow it on that first turn. And then it feels like the fan never gets it wrong.
Oh, I wonder, why is that? That's so weird.
I mean, it's because you guys are telling them, obviously.
No, so if it's a little kid, I'll have them turn, and I say, whichever hands are up the most, go with that answer. And the other night, like, the entire section had the number 5 up, and the kid,
How does the entire section know that though? When that first, it's like a second in.
They have eyes.
When the 5, no, get out of here. When the 5 hats spin faster than the human eye can track, there's no chance.
Well, Jesse, you would go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it felt like it was always number 3 for a couple games in a row. And so I very confidently turned to everybody in the press box and said, oh, it's number 3. It's always number 3. And then it was number 4 or number 5 or something.
Well, Patrick, if you ever listen, but that's my biggest beef. I make sure I try to get it changed up every night, because then the fans are like, it's always 3, Mikey. So there's a lot of pushback. It was
always, I mean, not always, but it was 3 for a few in a row.
Is that public knowledge or no? Do we keep that a secret?
We keep that a secret.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of superstition for all the people in the arena. So, depending what things happen, certain numbers happen. But at the end of the day, we eventually try to switch it so the fans are surprised. Because, the other night it was like number 3, like 2 or 3 games in a row. I was like, I can't do 3 anymore. They're gonna yell at me. Too predictable.
Jesse, you said that we tell the fans, but in my case, when I even tell the fans, they still get it wrong.
They still get it
wrong.
Well,
all right. It's just such a weird thing, because I've been going to games since the 80s, and so I am occasionally lightly made fun of for caring about the entertainment during breaks, but it matters. And the cap shuffle, as dumb as it is, no offense to the inventor of the cap shuffle or you guys or the in-arena team for doing it, it's such a goofy thing, but it allows you to participate if you're at the game. I feel the same way about over under or whatever you guys call it, the Yamava card game, right, where the people are flipping the cards and it's higher or lower. It's one of the reasons, apologies, that I don't love the Yamava prize wheel. because there's nothing I can do as a fan. I'm just sitting there watching the wheel spin, and then it lands on whatever it is, and then the person gets a prize, and okay, and then it's done. I don't get to interact with what I'm watching, even though I don't get to interact with the cap shuffle either. But I can at least for half a second pretend that I'm playing. I don't know.
And just to have the flip of that, if I had $1 for every time a fan asked me to do the prize wheel, because for them, certain fans, they get nervous. They don't have to answer questions, do trivia. They just want to spin a wheel. And we get asked by 20 people a game, can I spin the wheel? Can I spin the wheel? Can I spin the wheel?
That's
because they love it. They don't have to have hockey knowledge.
Sure.
They can spin a wheel. They get to be up the Jumbotron with us, and they love it. But I see what you're saying.
They risk a pie in the face.
They do risk a pie in the face.
I mean,
and last year push-ups, which I got several times.
I
felt awful.
I don't know if you guys are as big a fan of The Office as Zach Dooley and I are, but
shout out Zach Dooley.
The episode where they do the fun run and Kevin Malone is just like, you can't make me run.
Yeah. I was just talking with my family about this last night.
Yeah, that's me in push-ups. If you pulled me up there and were like, if you don't get it right, you're doing push-ups, I should be like, no, I'm sorry.
Kayla, did the girl knew she had push-ups as an option? Because I think
I would tell them, hey, are you okay with doing push-ups? Are you okay with a pie in the face? That's an option. It probably won't happen, is what I say, and then it happens.
To the best of my knowledge, the Yamava prize wheel is not legally binding, right? Like, there's no.
yeah.
Jesse, quick question.
Yep.
Regarding Yamava high-low. If your first card was 84, would you think the next card is higher or lower than 84?
I mean, I would think it was lower.
Thank you.
It would feel very cruel for Brant Clark to be the next.
That happened to me last year, and I told the guy the first one's lower.
Yeah.
And what does he say? Higher. And then the game's over after one flip.
And there was literally no number higher than 84 on the Kings.
Yeah, well,
no Brant Clark back then.
Right. I had another question. It was along the lines of when you go home and when do you go to bed?
3 or 4 in the morning.
Right. But
mine's around 1 or 2.
Oh, I know what it was. I've discovered recently that when I drive home, I don't need stimulation. Like I'll put something on the radio or I'll play a podcast or whatever. I don't care. It's dark. I'm going home. Then when I get home, I'm reading and watching videos and whatever. For some reason lately on the drive to the game, I need to talk to somebody. Which is weird because the number of people in my life that are willing to actually be on the phone to talk is getting smaller and smaller.
You can call me anytime, Jesse.
Well,
I always feel like
that's a dirty lie. I appreciate that you think it's true, but you know full well that you won't answer the phone if I call you.
I 100% will.
You'll be at the game in a meeting by the time I'm driving to the
true.
game. You're not answering the phone. For a 7:30 start, maybe I leave my place around 4:30.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're in a meeting.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I've been there for an hour and a half.
Yeah, here's the thing, Mikey. Despite you insisting that we're best friends, I know your schedule way better than you know my schedule.
Yeah, apparently you do.
But I need on the drive in. I like to have a phone conversation. And I don't know why that is, but are you guys, when you're gearing up mentally to do the performance, Kayla, are you calmed by talking to other people, or do you need to just like leave me alone? I need to prepare.
I don't want to talk. No, I don't ever really talk on the phone going to games. I either like listening to music or a podcast. The other day, Mikey called me 3 times before the game, and I was like, I just want to listen to my music. Granted, he was having car issues, so I was sympathetic. But
thank you.
I know I'm going to be overstimulated at the game and talking to a ton of people, and so I just like to like chill out on the way to games. And then after games, sometimes I've driven halfway home and I'm like in silence, not even realizing it.
Yeah.
Or I'll just listen to like, again, chill music or, early 2000s pop. That's kind of my go-to.
All American Rejects?
There you go.
More like the Britneys and
of course.
And 3LWs and yeah.
What's 3LWs?
3LW?
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
No More. This was like
I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Middle school Disney Channel, Kayla.
Oh, all right.
No, but yeah, on the way home, I'm singing, I'm listening to music, or I'm just in silence.
I am now Googling 3LW and discovering that I had no idea that this group existed.
that whole era of like late 90s, early 2000s, pop, rap, hip hop, that was my jam.
We try to do it. I know that I do in my car, Jess. Depends on how many fans we talk to after the game and all that stuff, how many times we wrap up. But I try to turn your show in to hear the fans
Oh
call.
yeah, I listened to your show, Jesse.
Just to
No,
see
you
what they say.
fine.
Clearly, Kayla clearly doesn't. I do. Just hear what the fans are saying. Because some fans are watching it from home, and some fans were at the game. Hey, I'm in the parking lot still, Jesse, or I'm still in traffic. I want to call. So I like hearing the fan feedback from your show. But then, yeah, to Kayla's point, literally, I won't have my car radio on the rest of the drive when I'm home, just because I'm decompressing. And believe it or not, I don't have to always hear my own voice talk, so I don't talk at all the rest of the night to anybody.
This is how I know you're not listening to the show, Mikey. You're talking about all the calls we get, and we don't get calls this year.
Well, you get the voice line, which I've left a couple messages.
Text line, yeah.
Text line.
Yeah. We get a lot of texts, which I had to create.
You read them. Yeah.
We don't always get access to the ESPN phone lines, so I had to do something. But yeah, get a lot of texts.
Yeah, because the other night you were reading one from somebody that I saw at the game, and then I'll tell you your fans are looking for you.
Yeah. So what's going on at like? How long does it take you to get to an Ontario Reign game? Where do you even live? I should know this. I know your schedule. I have no idea where you live.
I rock the Valley, the best place in LA. Come on now, people make fun of the Valley, so I defend it all the time. It's not that bad. On a Friday, yeah, you leave early. You leave early Ontario.
Tell that to. It took me 3 hours.
Yeah.
For the Empire Classic. When was that? 2 years ago, and the first time I'd been back since then was the Empire Classic this year because it scarred me.
Yeah, I always tell fans if you want to go on a Friday, leave early. It just gets crazy backed up. But Ontario is a blast. And I would say like 60% of Reign fans also go to Kings games, but it's a smaller arena. So you can truly connect with people on a different level. I can shout across from one section to the other because, it's just a smaller arena.
Sure.
And Annie, who runs the Reign, is just the greatest of all time.
Yeah, Annie's good.
My absolute hero. And I would do
We love Annie.
I would literally do anything for her. And she makes, the other night we had Hockey Fights Cancer, and this I'll get a little emotional with, but it's a sport, right? We're there to watch a game, but sometimes it's different, bigger than sports, salute to service the other night. But there was these two adults in the 200s at Toyota Arena, and Hockey Fights Cancer, they were wearing the Hockey Fights Cancer's jersey, and I've known them for a while, and I gave him a hug. And the one gentleman was I could see in his eyes, he was having emotional. I said, "Hey man, you need a hug?" He's like, "Yeah, could I?" I hugged him, and he lost his wife to cancer like 6 months ago. And his buddy, who's sitting next to him, was going through prostate cancer.
Mm.
So I radio up to Annie. I was like, "There's anything we get these guys on camera just to give them a little sign." And he was like, "We'll make that happen." They got put up on the Joe, and they waved with their signs. And after that hit was over, they gave me this hug that was like, wow. Where else? To me, I never would have met these guys without sports. And he said, "Mikey, for 3 hours, thanks for the distraction." And I was like, man, I love sports. So for 3 hours, he didn't worry about his prostate cancer. He was cheering on the Reign and hanging out with his buddies in their section. And with Ontario, that's what you get. You get all these sections are like little mini families. They've been going to Toyota Arena since 2008. They've been diehards, and just it's amazing to see. So go to a Reign game. They're awesome. And we do goofy stuff. We throw paper airplanes on the ice. We do Hungry Hippos. There's things in the AHL
Y'all get to do. Yeah, really fun stuff.
Yep.
Well, so do we, but yeah, things that we wouldn't get to do.
Yeah, just random, like, let's just try this and see if it works kind of stuff.
And if
And
you're
then
going to
you
go on a
get easy
Friday,
upper
leave at noon, go see a movie.
Yes. Leave at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's when I leave.
I mean, that's what I used to do. I would leave in the middle of the day, if not the morning, and then I'd just go watch a movie at the Ontario Mills movie theater. And by the time the movie's over, it's about time for me to be at the arena.
And you see, like, the Zach Dooleys, the Josh Schaefers, the Jared Shaffers, the people that are starting off and they're all growing and being promoted, and you get to hear the voices that you'll hear from years to come. King's Keys with Zach Dooley.
Yeah, let's not oversell that promise, because that I think is a coincidence of timing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like if Josh Schaefer lands and plants and sticks around for a while, you're not going to hear his replacement. Like, in theory, we want Josh to be around. Well, whoever gets the job, if it is Josh, we want that person to be around for decades. So,
oh yeah,
the replacement won't be quickly promoted. So anyway,
No, but I guess being behind the scenes, like
Yeah.
people that
This
work
this
behind the
era.
scenes
Yeah, this
are
era.
now behind the scenes. Yeah,
all
more
right.
behind the scenes
I
people.
don't think I'm going to top the emotional story about cancer survivors. So I think we're going to wrap it up here. Kayla, Mikey, thank you as always for joining me.
Thank you, Jesse Cohen. Always a treat.
And if we've learned anything or if we've reaffirmed anything in this conversation, it's that if you see Mikey and Kayla on the concourse, go bug Mikey. Kayla's got stuff to do.
No, I don't want it to sound like that.
Mikey's
I love
not
the
respectful
fans.
of other
I
people's
always
time or
wanna
space.
talk.
So go ahead and hug Mikey.
Please always come up and say hi to me.
Yes, Kayla has this super fan, this little kiddo, this beautiful little girl that
My Haley, I love her.
she goes every game just to see Kayla, and I'm kind of like second fiddle. She's like,
Sure.
oh, Kayla, but yeah, shout out.
I love the kiddos.
Well, it
And
sounds like
shout out
Haley's
to the
got
adults.
her priorities in line.
Yeah, she does.
Mikey and Kayla, thank you so
Clearly
much for
better
joining me.
She's clearly better at choosing pizzas.
Well, there she is. There's no question about that. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse. You're the best.